Once the word cut is yelled, Kenji comes back to reality after imagining what the action sequence would look like so vividly. After the director signals to take a break, everyone else breaks out of character and leaves the set as fast as possible. Some have a harder time than others. Two men, one on top of the other's shoulders, struggle to get their costume to unzip as they try to free themselves from the heat-filled cocoon they're in. After nearly ripping off the zipper, they are free, breathing in the cool air for the first time in hours.
Great work, everybody! Such exuberance!
Yama yells as he joyfully raises his axe in the air. Still filled with adrenaline, Yama stomps toward the two men, still wiggling out of their suit, and gives them a vigorous high five, sending them tumbling to the ground.
Yeah, such energy. I feel like I'm back on stage,
Yong says.
If anyone messed up, I'm going to kill them. I'm not running this scene again.
Junichi says as he flips his freshly permed black hair.
I don't think this production has the budget for any more takes anyway, so hopefully that was good enough,
Says Wataru.
Still, no one better have made any mistakes.
Junichi, you are the one who can't do a simple slash correctly.
Sora says, demonstrating the proper technique, nearly stabbing a few of the cast with her prop sword. As everyone heads for the refreshments or somewhere to relax, Hiro heads straight to the director. The director notices him from the corner of his eye and tries to sprint the other way. However, he is a second too late, as Hiro grabs him by the shoulder. The young actor turns the director to face him.
Why must we do this in one take? And why am I doing the stunt in the next scene? Shouldn't these types of stunts go to the people that are more, what's the word, expendable?
All our stunt doubles have serious injuries, so unfortunately, you're going to have to do it.
As Kenji watches on, he can't help but overhear the conversation. His blood boils every time Hiro throws his fits, which occur often. Kenji struggles to restrain himself from saying anything, being the least experienced in the group and not wanting to cause any trouble.
Just make the stuntmen do it. Make them earn their paychecks.
Unfortunately, Kenji's self-restraint isn't strong enough.
What a piece of crap.
As the words leave his mouth, Ito furrows his eyebrows, quickly nudging him to shut up. Hiro now turns to his next victim, as the director takes his chance for a smoke break.
What did you say?
Hiro shouts, wanting everyone to hear. However, anyone that heard quickly returns to what they were doing, not paying any attention to Hiro, except for Junichi, who overheard the commotion and rushed over, not wanting to miss out on any action. Hiro and Junichi stand side by side, both using their tall frames to stare down on Kenji and Ito. Hiro stretches out his broad shoulders to cast a shadow over Kenji, trying to make him feel as small as possible. Hiro, along with a few others, is one of the few notable names attached to this project. With most of the show's budget going to them, it gave Hiro plenty of leverage when making what he called crucial decisions. With little to no power, it left the rest with the decision to either be blacklisted and out of the job, or be happy with the little pay they received.
It takes a lot of nerve talking to me like that, especially someone like you.
What does that mean?
Look around. I'm the star of this show. You two are just useless side characters. So do yourself a favor and keep your head down and your mouth shut unless told otherwise.
As Kenji steps forward, Ito grabs his forearm, stopping him from doing something he might regret later.
Hey!
Sora yells. She overheard the star's proclamation. Hiro turns around to see who that was. His eyes widen in fear as he sees Sora walking over, her gaze piercing through Hiro. She drags her enormous sword as she makes her way to the conversation. Sora loves dramatics. Hiro and Junichi stare at each other, then decide to move this conversation elsewhere and hurry away in the opposite direction. Sora picks up her sword and gets ready to sprint after them when the hairstylist moves in front of her, trying to fix her hair.
Again, when will you realize you can't tame this beast on my head?
she asks the stylist.
Ito continues to look down, feeling that Hiro is right. Watching Ito like this only makes Kenji more upset. However, there's nothing he can do, at least nothing that won't cause them to be fired. As they both watch Hiro and Junichi running for their lives, they can feel heavy footsteps slowly approaching them. Before Ito can turn to see who that is, a giant arm lands on his shoulder. Ito turns and sees a warm smile coming from Yama. Yama likes to think of himself as the wise father of the cast, never wanting to miss a chance to give a pep talk. He prides himself on watching out for everybody and offering any life advice he can give, even though most of his advice includes returning to the wilderness to live off the land in order to find true peace and fulfillment. Yama has a bad habit of giving his advice while repeatedly patting the person's back, leaving most with back pain, as he doesn't know his own strength. This has been a problem dating back to his athletics days. Before Yama became an actor, he had a successful rugby career cut short by a bad injury. However, when he was playing, there wasn't another player close to the size or strength of Yama.
Why the long face, little one? Has the stress of the workplace overwhelmed you?
Ito opens his mouth to reply when Yama continues before Ito can answer.
It reminds me of what my grandpapa used to tell me. True reflection through meditation is like warm food for mind and soul. Why don't we try it out? There's a nice empty corner by the lights.
Yama puts his arm around Ito's shoulder, taking him as he walks to the nearest quiet area before Ito can respond. Ito stares back at Kenji, resembling a victim in a horror movie being dragged off by a killer. Kenji can only stare back as they leave, unsure of how he could save him. Kenji takes a deep breath and tries to relax. The smell of old coffee and catered food slowly fills his lungs, making him weirdly hungry. He walks toward the refreshment table, hoping to grab something to eat before they are called back. His path has him narrowly dodging a giant skull being hauled past him, while he twists and turns his way through a constant sea of people, moving pieces of the set to their proper places. Finally, he reaches the table, only to see Wataru and Yong finish up their eating contest, devouring all the sandwiches available, leaving only crumbs behind. Although Yong and Wataru are fairly short and thin, they have the biggest appetite among their cast members. Kenji surveys what food is left and notices one last anpan among the sea of crumbs. As he reaches for the anpan, Junichi's shouting catches his attention.
Why does he get to land the last punch? Shouldn't it go to the strongest character? There must be someone here who agrees.
I agree, which is why I should be the one to do it.
Hiro says.
What a bunch of children. Do they actually think they're the characters they're playing?
Lee says.
Aren't we all children in this ancient world? Who's to say who we are?
Sungwoo says, answering her rhetorical question, only frustrating her more.
Is there no one normal around here?
Lee then swiftly puts her hand up to Sungwoo, signaling him not to answer. In the corner of Kenji's eye, he sees a sphere of light flying past him. He turns his head, wondering what that could have been. He continues to search, scanning for that same sphere of light, when he notices Hiro looking around as well. They soon make eye contact, both narrowing their eyes at one another, each wondering, did he see the same thing? They continue to scan the area, trying to find what passed between them. After a few seconds, Hiro rolls his eyes and turns back to the conversation he was having, not wanting to waste any more of his precious time. As Kenji shakes his head, he thinks,
It was probably only a stage light or something. Working my part-time job, and this is starting to take a toll on me. I really need some sleep.
Without looking, Kenji tries to grab something from the snack table. Jin and Kenji bump hands, but then retract their arms instantly. Kenji definitely feels the impact more. He shakes his hand, trying to release the pain he feels from meeting Jin's massive knuckles. Both set their eyes on the last anpan, but are too polite to take it for themselves.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Kenji says, while gesturing at the pastry.
No, I shouldn't be having that. My temptations have led me to this unsubtle muffin top. I insist you have it.
Jin pats his stomach, but from the look of it, Jin seems to be 200 pounds of pure muscle. Both want the last anpan desperately, but this situation has gotten too out of hand for either to take it.
Why don't we split it?
Excellent idea.
Jin says, reaching for the pastry, but when he is inches away, another hand gets to it first. Not realizing the situation, Wataru snatches the last anpan while strolling past the table, not stopping for even a moment. Jin is in shock at the series of events. His hand remains over the now empty plate, and he regrets not grabbing the pastry sooner.
Maybe that's for the best.
Kenji nods in agreement. Jin moves his hand to greet Kenji.
I don't think we officially met. I'm Jin.
Hi, I'm Kenji.
Nice work. I noticed you're skilled with swords. Do you have experience in kendo?
Yeah, there's a dojo near my foster home. I spent a lot of my time there.
Well, they taught you well. Your skills are very impressive.
Thank you.
Kenji says, avoiding eye contact. He always hates when people give him compliments. It makes him freeze and feel awkward. Ito rejoins Kenji, finally having escaped Yama's pep talk, and scans the area for anything to help his now sore back. As he looks for a heating pad, he notices a hulking man beside Kenji. Ito's jaw drops as he realizes it's Jin. Ever since the show premiered, he's been obsessed with this show. It was actually Ito's idea to audition. For 3 years straight, he cosplayed at conventions as Jin's character until his growth spurt, which made his gi show a little too much midriff. This is the first time Ito has been face to face with him.
Ito, this is Jin.
Nice to meet.
I'm so glad we finally got to meet. I'm a huge fan. I've been trying to meet you, but we didn't have any scenes together until today. This is awesome, totally awesome. I can't believe this.
Ito says, while breathing deeper and deeper with each word.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Lee rushes to finish her food and hurries away from Hiro and Junichi's argument about who would win in a fictional fight. She rubs her temples and takes some pain relief medicine, struggling to rid herself of a headache. As Lee and Chen make their way to Jin, Chen can tell Lee is obviously heading toward a mental breakdown. Wanting to calm her down, she starts to sing one of Yong's band's songs. Unfortunately, the headache only intensifies.
And this is my girlfriend Lee, and my sister Chen. Girls, this is Kenji and Ito.
I hate these big battle scenes. There's way too much ego and testosterone in one place. I wish we could film these scenes separately.
Lee says to Chen.
Yeah, totally.
Kenji says while pursing his lips and looking down, not knowing how to act in this situation. Lee glances around, realizing she has released her frustration in the middle of a conversation with people she doesn't really know. Lee's cheeks grow red.
Oh, sorry. I just feel suffocated when there's this many people.
I understand. It can be pretty suffocating with all the hot air from Hiro and Junichi.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Jin says with a big smile.
By the way, I heard what happened earlier. I'm sorry we weren't there to put him in his place.
It's okay. It didn't bother us one bit.
Ito says, the reaction taking Kenji by surprise.
That's good, because you guys are doing great.
Lee says, as Chen and Jin nod in agreement.
Yeah, I loved the part where you ripped the beast in half and his intestines fell out and it soaked your hands with goo.
Chen says, with unsettling enthusiasm, trying to reenact the scene.
Lee, we need you for a minute,
Calls Lee's mother, who doubles as her manager. During the shoot, Kenji couldn't help but notice her, as she would constantly call Lee when they weren't filming. Kenji assumed this was a person who had never heard of decaf coffee, based on the way she would fast walk around the set. Swinging her arms so aggressively, Kenji could have sworn she would eventually uppercut someone. They all look at Lee as she releases a large sigh, hesitantly turning to walk toward her mother. But before Lee can fully turn, her mother grabs her arm, causing Lee to wince in pain. Lee's mother's fierce grip never loosens as she escorts her from one end of the set to the other, finally stopping in front of the men in suits.
Who are they?
They're the head of the country's biggest studio. Most of the blockbusters you see come from them.
Wow, she's so lucky.
Jin looks at Lee with sadness as he watches her put on a smile, but she's not able to hide the pain in her eyes. He becomes more and more disgusted as he watches Lee's mother never losing her big grin as she glances back and forth between her child and the men in suits. Jin can only shake his head while thinking of what Ito just said, knowing how tough it must be for her, always needing to be someone her mother wants her to be.
Lucky isn't the word I would use.
Jin, Chen, and Ito, we need you here for a moment.
The stunt coordinator yells from across the set.
All right, be right there. After all this is done, let's hang out. I know a good bar around here. What do you think?
Really?
Kenji replies, as he modulates his high-pitched reaction down to a much deeper voice.
I mean, yeah, totally.
Kenji glances at Ito to see if he noticed his voice change, but by the look on his face, he is still stunned by the invitation.
We'll talk about the details after.
Jin yells as they make their way to the coordinator.
Okay, sounds good.
Come on, Ito. They need us over there.
As soon as Chen says Ito's name, he quickly snaps out of the trance he was in and does a small skip as he catches up to them. Kenji takes a deep breath and stands there for a moment, watching Ito, Chen, and Jin walk away as he looks around at the bustling atmosphere, feeling incredibly awkward for reasons he isn't exactly sure why. Not knowing what else to do, Kenji walks outside to check his phone, trying his best to clear his head. But it is easier said than done, as he can't shake what Hiro said earlier. It eerily reminds him of when he was little. Kenji always had a tough time making friends. Of the 12 in his foster home, Kenji had been the youngest by a significant margin. His siblings sometimes invited him to things out of pity, but soon the other kids made it obvious they didn't want to have a little kid constantly follow them around. As he grew up, he was routinely ditched or told to get lost. So, Kenji would spend most of his time in the dojo nearby, losing himself in his training. However, as Kenji thinks about the conversation with Jin, Chen, and Lee, he can't help but feel this time is different. Kenji opens his locker and immediately notices his phone screen is filled with notifications of texts and missed calls from his doctor. He rushes to pick up his phone and quickly calls him back.
Hello? Hi. Sorry I missed your call. I'm working.
Kenji, how are you feeling?
The doctor usually asks this whenever he speaks to Kenji, but this time feels off.
I'm fine. I feel really exhausted, though.
Kenji, the results came back and, it's not looking good.
How bad?
There's an awkward pause after he asks the question. It seems like minutes pass by before the doctor answers.
You don't have long. I would say only a couple of years. 3 at best.
Everything goes numb as Kenji loses feeling in his knees and falls to the ground, dropping his phone. It slides a few feet away. His body has never felt weaker. The shock instantly takes over him, and his mind becomes cloudy, not able to feel anything. He knew things were bad, but he remained optimistic that the treatments were helping, constantly battling not to think of the worst-case scenario.
Kenji, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, Kenji can't hear or feel anything, not even the director yelling for him from inside. Ito worriedly scans the area, wondering why he hasn't returned yet.
I'll go look for him,
Ito says, dashing to the nearest exit. A large construction truck zooms by Kenji, the sound of clanking metal snapping him out of it. He picks up his phone with shaky hands, barely able to hold it.
Sorry, Doctor. I'll call you back.
Okay, call me as soon.
Kenji hangs up the phone. He stares at the cigarette-littered ground around the lockers as the blistering sun beats down on his neck. He can feel only the cold sweat running down his hair and the lack of oxygen surrounding him. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees a figure running toward him, but he's too weak to look.
Kenji, are you okay?
Ito asks, while bending down next to Kenji.
Are you okay?
Ito asks again, this time with more urgency. Kenji stares up at Ito with a soulless expression, frightening Ito as he nearly loses his balance.
Huh? Oh, sorry. I must have lost track of time.
They're waiting for us. Are you okay?
Yeah, I just needed to sit down for a second.
Kenji says so softly that it is almost a whisper. Ito grabs his hand and pulls him up, doing most of the work, as Kenji still can't feel his legs. As they both return to the set, Kenji continues to feel paralyzed by the news, not even hearing Hiro welcoming him back.
Hurry, idiot! Where the heck were you?
Hiro says while standing on his mark, tapping his feet as his patience runs out. As everyone moves to their spots, ready to finish the day, Sung-woo notices a lady right outside the set waving around what looks to be a scepter. Assuming she's an extra he's never seen before, he brings his focus back to the scene at hand. But when her scepter begins to glow, and a sphere of light appears behind her, his attention quickly snaps back to the strange figure. The light shoots out of the scepter, emitting a full palette of colors. The glow intensifies as the woman waves the scepter in increasingly large movements. Sung-woo glances around to check if anyone else is seeing this, but to his surprise, no one seems to notice.
Action!
The director shouts, taking Sung-woo by surprise. As the scene resumes filming, the ground begins to shake.
Wait, does anyone feel that?
Wataru asks.
Yeah, is that supposed to happen?
Keep rolling!
Orders the director.
It's probably heavy trucks driving by!
The shaking becomes more intense, sending some of the set decorations crashing to the ground. Yong almost gets crushed, barely managing to dive out of the way of a massive theater light. The object hits the ground in a shower of sparks. Sora checks on Yong as he tries to stand up.
Are you okay?
Yeah, luckily I dodged it, or else that could have killed me.
Sora's eyes then aim at the director. She slams her sword on the ground.
Keep rolling? Are you insane? It feels like there's an earthquake!
Cut, everyone! Stop!
The director yells, not wanting to test Sora's patience while she has a sword, prop or no prop. The director motions everyone to take a break while they figure out what's causing the tremors when a blinding light streaks across the set. As the light intensifies, the director raises his hand to shield his eyes. He squeezes his eyes shut and cries out in alarm. Then, just as suddenly as the light had appeared, it begins to dim. The director cautiously lowers his hand. But as the light disappears, so too do the actors, each fading into the darkness of a now empty set. And just like that, they are gone.